Bag Darrell, because you actually hung out with him.
Yeah, so this is great. So I had heard like what is it, Cowboys from Hell or whatever. But again, I was never really a metal guy. But I thought Pantera was rad. But it was just like people would put the cassette tape in the van when we were going to BMX contests or whatever.
It's a badass album. Yeah.
It was never anything I really listened to. And so and I'd read guitar magazines, and I knew he was an Ace. Like, I kind of knew who Dimebag was because he was an Ace fan.
Yeah, he was a huge Kiss
fan.
fan.
And they were on the cover of Guitar World and stuff together. Yeah. So, and I'd read that article and stuff. Anyways, one day I'm at a guitar store, and I see fucking Dimebag Darrell in there. And I'm like, hey, Dimebag. He's like, hey. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, we're playing a show here tonight. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And
this is during Cowboys from Hell tour?
No, this was I don't remember what tour this was on. This was mid '90s.
Wow.
And the owner of the store came over. He's like, "Hey, can you take a picture of us together?" I was like, "Sure." So I took a Polaroid, and Dime's like, "Hey, let's me and you take a picture." And I was like, all right. I'm like, hey, let's Kiss Destroyer pose. And he's like, okay.
Oh,
and
cool.
so we're like fucking, so it's like me, him, and the owner, and I'm like, so anyways, we're just chatting. I'm like, oh yeah, you're a big Ace fan, right? And he's like, yeah. And so we just talked about Kiss for a long time.
Yeah.
And he was super cool. And it was good because, because I wasn't a fan, I didn't like, fanboy out on him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's surrounded by, when he meets strangers, they're all fans, and so it's weird or something. Yeah. But he's like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" I'm like, "I don't know. I got the day off. I was just hanging out." And he's like, "You want to go to some pawn shops with me?" I'm like, "Sure." Right? He's like, "I don't have a car." I'm like, "I'll drive you around." So I'm like, "Why do you want to go to pawn shops?" And he's like, he's like, "This is the last show of our tour, and I want to buy a bunch of acoustic guitars and give them to the crew, and they're going to come out and smash them all at the end of our set." I'm like, great, man. We'll fucking drive. I know where all the pawn shops are.
I like that idea.
We'll drive around, and we'll buy a bunch of fucking cheap acoustic guitars for you. He's like,
I love
cool.
He's still on a budget at this level. He's like,
so we drive around to all these pawn shops, and we're just shooting the shit, listening to music, like fucking. He's a super cool guy,
He's sitting in your passenger's side, just chilling.
Me and him and my Honda CRX.
I wish I had a picture of that.
And we go to, and he's like, we go to this pawn shop. It's so fucking great. He's like, how much for every one of those guitars?
Wow.
And he whips out the fucking hugest wad of, it had to be like $15,000 in cash. It was fucking enormous. I'm like, holy shit, dude.
How big's your crew?
Yeah, just like the fucking giantest, I mean, because every acoustic guitar is like $80,
sure.
like, and you needed like 10 of them or something. So, and then, so he's doing his thing, and I'm like looking around or whatever, and I'm like checking out this cymbal case, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just looking at this case." He's like, "You want it?" And I was like, "Well, I was thinking about maybe buying." He's like, "I'll buy it. Throw it on the fucking thing." So, so he bought the cymbal case for me. It's the same one I still have to this day.
Awesome, man.
I remember driving, and he's like, "How much did you pay for this car?" I'm like, "I don't remember. It was like $2,000 or something." And, it was older, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, like $2,000. He's like, I'll pay you $2,000 and we drive it into the river. I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm like, dude, normally I totally would, but I actually really like this car. So I'm going to pay. He's like, I got the money. I'm like, yeah, I know you got the money.
I saw the wad of cash.
But I don't want to drive my fucking car into the river because I like this car.
Oh my God.
So yeah, he was super cool. He's like, yeah, you want to come to our show tonight? I'm like, sure. He's like, I'll put you on the list. And I'm like, all right. And so, but
you saw him?
I ended up not going. So.
Oh man.
But yeah, he was super cool, like super down to earth, and you just like raising hell and
drive your car into a river.
Yeah, let's drive your car into the fucking river.
So he wanted to I always picture in a movie. So you're going down a hill or something. You guys were gonna jump out.
I don't know what the plan was. Like, I don't know if we were just supposed to
barrel roll
in a
out
boat
of the
ramp,
car?
or if you wanted to, we put a brick on the gas pedal and
that's what I pictured.
Ghost drive it into the fucking.
Oh my God.
I don't know what his idea was exactly, but
that is so funny.
Yeah,
he just wanted destruction, and he had all the money to do it.
Yeah, just totally like, hey, let's fucking raise hell, and yeah, just bumped into him at a
you
guitar
got all that money.
store
Let's go to the strip bar, man. What are we doing?